Um, let me record this for YouTube so we can post it back live. Does anyone have anything they want us to look into first? Does anyone have anything they need us to look into or they need me to clarify before I jump into the analysis for today? Is there anything at all?
Yeah, kindly get gold.
Gold, yeah. Okay, we'll put gold on the list.
Kindly check gold.
All right, Aslan, thank you. I'm gonna check gold. Is there anyone else that has anything else they want me to check? So I'll take
BTC, Bitcoin.
okay, BTC.
Yeah, I know we don't have that much data about it, but still it helps.
Yeah, it does help a little bit, I'm thinking of getting Ethereum on here as well, just in case anybody want to trade that, to be quite frank. So we'll kick off with gold, then we'll check BTC, then we'll do some analysis. Right. The easiest one off the bat to check would be BTC because we could just check that right now with just with the seasonality. I don't have to check COT or anything in regards to that. So I'm going to check that now. Okay, so looking at BTC, right? So today's the 31st. All right. Now, according to this, BTC is meant to go up, but I know BTC is stuck at the moment. So I'm just gonna quickly head over to BTC. I think I have it right here. I know it's stuck at the moment. Price is just literally dancing around this region for a while now. So if we look at it on the daily chart, the last time it followed the seasonality, let me check, see if I can find any time it followed the seasonality last. So around 23rd, let's see, maybe we can get some on the 23rd. Yeah, so it did that little up move on 23rd right here. According to 23rd, it's meant to move up and continue its move up until the second or third, right? But right now, what we've seen is it did that move in 23rd, then got shot back down, and now it's consolidating within that region. And personally, for me, I just say hold back on your new entries, don't go in yet, simply because this move might happen. This drop that we're anticipating might actually happen. And if it happens from the second or the third, it could last up to a week, right? So if that lasts up to a week, that means it's most likely going to clear out these guys and probably come back to somewhere around maybe here, because Bitcoin does that volatile move. It drops heavy when he does this stuff. So I'll probably
I'm guessing the lower spot.
You're guessing where?
Lower spot, right below your cursor.
Right
around
here.
41K. Yeah, because there's a turncoat sport behind that.
Okay.
Usually Bitcoin falls really like drastic.
Yeah, it does do heavy fall. Yeah. So you're anticipating this region right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we can say that that might possibly happen because this goes for 7 days, and there isn't any much data to back it up. I mean, what we have remotely close to it would be the COT report, right? If we check the COT report, let's see what the commercials are doing. If we can find, the commercials short in it, then most likely that might happen, so let's see what the COT report says for BTC. All right. No, actually, I think it's called Bitcoin right here. So yeah. So according to the seasonality report, the COT report as of the 26th, just like a few days back, the commercials are actually putting positions up. But the non-commercials, though, which seems to be one of the majority controlling parties in this market, because most of the commercials haven't jumped in yet. Most of them are shorting it. So there's most likely going to be a higher volume in regards to shorting it than long. But these guys often seems to be right when they make the analysis. As much as I want to stick with them, there's a bias that's in between my trade right now, in which I'm not totally sure if I should listen to these guys commercials or I should stick with the non-commercials because they have the volume. These guys have a lot of money, but these guys got the intelligence right here. So for me personally, what I would say is I would let the short ride. Most likely it's going to fall. It's most likely going to fall to here. And even if you look at it, the fall might probably last up until the 23rd, right? So if that's the case, you'll be 100% correct. Bitcoin would actually come somewhere around here. So the first short would probably go down and then try to kick back up, but then ultimately falling back somewhere around here before it then continues its rally for the rest of the year. So ultimately it's going to go up, but we don't know when it's going to go. So this might actually be the maximum it's going to get for now. And we might see that pullback for that long move to come. Okay. So I hope this clarifies, clarifies BTC. If you have any questions in regards to that, please let me know, because I'll move directly into gold right now. All right. Okay. Let's go to gold.
Okay.
All right. Beautiful. Let's see what gold is saying. So with gold, there's a short coming. It shows short right there. And what's the date today? And today's Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I don't really celebrate it, but for those that
Same here, bro.
yeah, for those that do, happy Halloween to you guys. Right. So this is showing short. I go to showing short. The easiest way to go around this, you can see that the seasonality isn't really properly aligned. So what we can do in this scenario is this: we can actually go on gold and see which of the seasonality has been following, right? Because so far, what we can see from gold, the seasonality chart, there's no alignment between them. So if there's no alignment between them, there's a possibility that, gold is gonna literally ruin your account if there's no alignment. So I personally opt out of trading the asset because, well, it doesn't look good. So 29th right here, we don't have that. It actually fell. Funny enough, 29.
Yeah, it was supposed to fall on the 29th, and it did.
It did. It fell.
Yeah.
So the problem is, will it continue the fall? And I'm not sure which of the asset has been following, because if you look at the 15 years, which is the red one, right? You see that consolidation. It's just consolidating on the 15 years. If you switch it over, someone has their mic on. There's movement in the background, please.
Yeah, sorry, that was me.
No problem. So if you look at it, the asset seems to some sense, be consolidating. It doesn't really seem to be moving in a specific direction. It's just consolidating. There isn't that much move. I mean, it's gold, by the way. It's 862 pips, but then again, it's consolidating. If you're going in somewhere around here with all of these going on, there's a possibility you get rated, because most people have a stop loss of maybe 50 pips, and 50 pips to gold is just baby steps. So I personally don't know which one of the seasonality is following. I mean, this week will show which one is following, but overall, the COT report is showing short. So if it's showing short, right, I would be very careful. I'll be extremely careful, because the one asset that really shows short coming is the 5 years, bottoming all the way down here. So I would just wait it out and see what gold does for the time being. If it seems to be following the 5 years, then I could switch gears and just trade 5 years with it. You understand? So if it doesn't seem to follow any of them, or if it seems to, maybe even follow the 15 or the 40 years, but the COT report does not align, I'll just let it go. I won't touch it at all. So personally, for me, gold is literally, for me, no go this week. I wouldn't play with it. I wouldn't at all. But I mean, you guys, a lot of people have different experience level. You can decide to trade it, if you want. I mean, if I see a good move with it and it seems to be following the 5 years, I could literally jump on the trade. Okay. So that being said, let's go to this week's analysis. Is there anything anybody else wants me to check actually before I jump into this week's analysis? Let's see. GBP USD. Okay, off the bat, we go to GBP then. All right, so let's see what the COT report for GBP shows first, and then we'll see what the COT report for USD also shows. Where's that? So once we know what that shows, if any of them is giving us a good amount of signal, we might be able to take it. USD, I don't really like how the USD COT report looks. It's just like 53 new positions going, but ultimately these guys are short, so wait for that to load while we look at the GBP seasonality. So according to GBP seasonality anyway, GBP is meant to lose strength from 31st, which is today. So from tonight, most likely we might see GBP lose strength for the coming weeks. Let me refresh this quickly. Right. Okay. We see that, drop coming into play right here. So that might actually happen. Okay, beautiful. Now you can see actually the COT report, they're dumping GBP already. So if they're dumping GBP, right, and GBP is already showing that short bias coming through, what we need to check next is the probability. If we see the probability of GBP USD, if that looks good, that will be a trade for us to jump into. All right. So let's look at what the probability of GBP USD looks like. That looks favorable to us. We might as well go into that trade. Nice call, by the way. All right. So first, okay, 31st. So first of all, November, we have that sell for GBP, but then we have the buy, and then we have 50-50, then we have a sell. Now, I personally, since when I've been trading, I like to get 3 days straight. I like to get absolutely 3 days straight in this asset, of going in the direction that I want it to go. 1 day is not sufficient enough for me, because if that 1 day fails, then I will be stuck in that trade if the next day actually then goes right. So personally, I would leave that alone. I won't touch GBP USD. But if you're very experienced and you know what you're doing, we can actually look at the GBP USD chart and see what's happening. And wait, let me pull this up a little bit. Let's see what Williams is showing. Williams is slightly flat. Williams is actually slightly flat with this asset. So right here, looking at the GBP USD, what we can see is it's already falling from the 29th. So the move might have started earlier than predicted. And the funny thing is actually it's below all the moving averages. So this would be a super high risk trade, but the reward might be actually beautiful, because this asset might actually fall all the way back down here. So about 207 pips. So I can put this actually down. Don't trade this if you don't, if you don't have the experience. It will be a short, and I'll call it super high risk. All right. So that would be for that one. All right. So okay, Euro GBP. Yeah, we're gonna move to those sets in a second. So now that we've checked the GBP USD, so what we're gonna do next, it will be we check the varieties of all the GBPs that we have, because GBP does look as if it might play out good. All right, so let's see the GBP, all the GBP pairs. So we go GBP CHF. All right. We check GBP USD already. Oh yeah, I'll check them. Okay, go through all the GBPs. All right, so from looking at this, GBP CHF says long all the way, so I won't touch GBP CHF. Let's see GBP JPY. So we're looking for GBP going short, basically. Remember, so GBP JPY says long most of the way, so we won't touch that. Euro GBP, because the inverse is happening now, we're looking for long. And no, for some reason, probability shows that GBP has been gaining much strength around this region. So no, so GBP CAD, it gives us a better opportunity on the third, right? but let's see, it gives us 2 days. We might actually be able to get this one. Let's see on the third. On the third right here, okay, that looks good. All right. So with this one, for example, with GBP CAD, we have that. It will be medium ECAD. We can short that. So from third, right? Wait, hold on. What am I looking at? Wait, hold on. I got that wrong. I was looking at the buy, right? It gives us short actually from the first. So it gives us 2 days short, then buy. So we can actually short this from first. So we can short that from 1st of November. Now keep in mind, I'll put this as high risk. The main reason I'll put this as high risk is simply because we don't have 3 days, right? So GBP CAD, I'll short that from the first, and now you can first, second, you can short that, but let's see what the seasonality shows for that. For the first, the second, which actually correlates with, if you look at the seasonality, it correlates. So from the second, you have to be out because then we pull back on the third, right? From the third, you then have to go short, right? But what we can see right here is for the first and second looks good. The third looks good, but the fourth and the fifth doesn't really look like it's going our way. So you actually have to exit this by the second. So first, the second. And if you know what you're doing, you can hold if the market looks good for you to keep trading. So that'll be short, high risk on GBP CAD. Then let's see what GBP AUD has to say. All right, GBP AUD. So we have, actually, this one looks a lot more better. GBP AUD, sell. Then we have the pullback day, which was 50-50. Then we have a sell. So this would be among, it's still high risk. I mean, because I don't have my 3 days as I like it short. So first, risk. I'm just jotting this down. We'll go into the charts to look at it in a second. All right. So November, then we have, okay, now we have something good. GBP NZD, right? So GBP NZD has an 82% chance of falling on the first trading day of November. So that's the 1st of November. NZD go short. First. So it's medium risk. It will be lower risk if once I see the William. So this looks much better. We go 3 days straight short. Then we have 2 days buy. So I'll probably be exiting by the third. So we exit by the third, right? So that's that. So let's check the chart and see these assets that we've chosen, right? So GBP USD, we looked at that already. Super high risk trade, you can still go for it if you know exactly what you're doing. If you're new to trading and you're not making that much profit, stay away. Just stay away from it. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll get for GBP CAD, right? So GBP CAD goes short from the first. So most likely what we're going to see is, the William doesn't really give us that much. So it's going to stay as high risk because the William doesn't give us that much of a dip. We're expecting a dip right there. But what we can look at from here is just this zone right here. We should be able to get some resistance. So come this week, we want the price to open at least maybe somewhere down here or maybe gap to the bottom and then pull back up a little bit, to get an entry around that zone. And if we put PZ support and resistance into this to see what it's going to look like, we might be able to get an entry zone on a lower time frame around that place. Okay, you know what? Looking at it from the 4 hours, I will change my spectrum to somewhere here. My entry will be here, bang on around here, 1.7. So round number, basically 1.7 will be my entry for going short on GBP CAD. Also because of the EMAs around that period. So yeah, so that's a go for that asset. Then we look at GBP AUD. All right. GBP. Same thing with the Williams, but what you can see so far is GBP is already losing the strength. GBP is already losing that strength anyway. So the good thing is there's a possibility it will keep going that way. You follow the trend, just keep following the trend. And what I would expect for these assets is to pull back to somewhere around this region. I would not touch this asset if it doesn't pull back to around this region, simply because it's done this down move. Anytime price goes down, look at, for example, right here, it goes down for in some future point, it's going to come back to that point. No matter how much you don't want it to, it will come back. It goes down here, it did come back to that candle right here, pull back somewhat inside of it. If you can see the resistance line right here, I can most likely predict somewhere around here would be my entry point. You know, look at the red dash right there. So if you're looking for entry, I would rather go for the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame would be my entry for the short on GBP AUD. Still looks like what does it look like right here? High risk trade, so I'll keep that like that. Then GBP NZD. Let's see what GBP NZD has to say in the final one. So same thing goes here. This one is more even. This one is a lot more straightforward because this already rated these guys out. Anybody that sold prior to this has been rated out already. And what's going to happen is with this one, I would just wait for the pullback. What you want to do is wait for the pullback for this asset to come somewhere around here. You know, somewhere around here will be the ideal. So let me go back on the 4 hour time frame. Actually, let me mark it. I'll go for the 50 EMA again, or maybe even the 20 in this scenario. So somewhere around there will be my entry zone. So in this scenario, see, I highlight this green zone right here. Price did try to get to 20 EMA on the higher time frame, but couldn't do it. So what I'll do is I'll wait for price this time around to come back somewhere around here. Ideally, here would be my first entry if I'm going to go in, and all stop losses should ideally be behind the 200 moving average. I don't know, a lot of people can't even hack that because that's 273 pips, but that'll be the safest point to be in. The next safest point to be in will be behind here. So from there to there, which is about 101 pips, right? And if you're very, very tight on your constraint, go back on the low, go on a lower time frame and wait for price to pull somewhere around here, maybe ideally hitting the 200 moving average again, or coming hitting the 50 moving average, going above it, then setting up pips, stop loss of 77 pips. If you can be patient enough, and if price does get to 200 moving average, you only need to set a 30 pip stop loss for this one, and then you sell. This trade will probably stand on, it stands on medium risk still because of the William does not really poke down. I want the William to poke down a lot, then it can go into a lower risk trade. So ideally with this one, you want to wait for price to pull back somewhere around this region right here will be sufficient. So at least 88 pips pullback, you know, and that extent. So it could do a week, it could do like it's coming all the way up, or it could gap to the upside and do like it's coming up, then just short it when it gets to that zone. Okay, so that's that one for all the GBP pairs. So we have 4 trades to look at. You can choose any of the 4 that seems more comfortable with you, right? So we've looked at GBP. I think what else should we look at? Let me see. What else can we look at? Okay, let's look at let's go look at let's see CHF. We'll go in a specific order. Right. And now let's see what CHF COT report is saying. The COT report doesn't look good, so I'm not going to touch CHF. Let's see JPY. JPY has a buy, it has long. So what we're going to do is check the JPY seasonality. If we can find a long in the JPY seasonality, then we're good to go for JPY to analyze that as well, right? We don't have that much time left, so if you have questions, please drop it down in the comment section. I'll be able to go through that for you before we round up this session. So JPY, what we can see right here is it's giving us long according to the COT report, but if you look at the seasonality chart, this doesn't look like long at all. So I mean, right here is the only long I can find from the 6th, but that doesn't correlate with the 5 years, so I wouldn't even trade this because it doesn't really align, right? So for that, I'm just letting the JPY go. I'm not going to touch that. Next thing, let's check Euro. Euro doesn't look good. Skip that. We checked USD already. Just has a little bit of bump to the upside, so I'm not doing that. CAD, we got that on short. Let's see what the CAD COT report is saying. Seasonality is saying. This is quite a massive amount of short coming into the game, and these guys are going long, so there'll be definitely liquidity for us to ride on. Right. Okay. This looks good on on the seasonality as well. So from the 4th, right, somewhere around the 4th of November, which I think should be Thursday, right? Yeah, from Thursday right here, we should ideally start seeing CAD going down, right? Now, I don't think we've seen any asset that's meant to go long in regards to COT yet, except from the USD, which has a little bit of long. So, but what you can see right here is the short is supported by COT, the short is supported by seasonality. The only thing we need support by now is probability. So we go for CAD, we check all the CAD pairs just the same way we check the GBP and find which one might lose strength. Now we know that GBP is also meant to lose strength, right? So most cases you don't want to really check that, because if both of them are losing strength, you don't want to be on the wrong hand. You know, I'd rather have one of them winning, but one of them losing. So, but I was still hoping it for just opening's sake. I mean, we can see GBP is actually going short from first to second, which when we see GBP against CAD is going short. But what we can see here on the seasonality on that date is CAD actually having strength from first to fourth, you know, except for the 5 years, of course, you know, but we could almost neglect that, carry on with analysis. So we start with CAD CHF. So CAD CHF is giving us long, but we're looking at it from the 4th. So it doesn't really give us much on the 4th, as in it just gives us buy. So, but it gives us sell on the 5th and then no trading on Saturday, Sunday, then comes back. I don't like the way it looks. I'll probably trade this next week from the 9th. That'll be my best ideal option to go in. Let me see what night looks like on, yeah, 9th right here will be an ideal option to go in. But for early entry's sake, people can go on Friday, but I wouldn't recommend it at all. I'll wait for the 9th. You know. So let's check CAD JPY. So from the 4th, doesn't really look good. So we're gonna let that skip. Euro CAD. Let's see. So we're expecting Euro to go strong from the 4th. Go strong, but then loses strength. Then no, doesn't look good. We skip that. And then USD CAD. Maybe we'll find something here. So USD CAD actually gives us the entry to be on the 5th rather than the 4th. So it gives us on the 5th on Friday to go in, and then the week after that looks all good. So with this one, USD CAD long Friday. So I'm gonna hold this over the weekend. It looks like a medium trade risk. We'll skip that and go back to GBP CAD. Now GBP CAD, I already spoke about this, so quite frankly, I want to touch this. Just let that be, because I've already analyzed it according to GBP already. I mean, I could ride it all the way back up, but I don't want to risk it. So on the 4th, we have NZD CAD, right? We expected NZD to gain strength on the 4th, which it does look like it's going to gain strength, but we have 50-50, then it looks like it's just falling apart. So we'll let that go. And AUD CAD, all right. AUD CAD, we have AUD gaining strength on the 4th, 5th. Okay, and then looks good. So AUD CAD, we can also look at that. Put down long. Okay, so entry is actually on the 4th. All right. I mean, it does look good to go in from the back from the 1st, but I don't want to risk it. No. unless the only reason I can risk this is if AUD has a long coming around that period, which I don't think it does, but let's see. I'm not sure. So, all right. Yeah, it actually has a long coming from the 2nd, but it only happens for till the 4th. And then 5-year goes down, then 15-year goes, start consolidating, ready to go down. So in regards to that, right, let's look at USD CAD, then we look at AUD CAD, and that will be all we have time for today. Right, so let's go for USD CAD first. Right, USD looks as if it's about to gain strength. The Williams seems to be stuck for some random reason, almost across every pair. So watch out though. You can see the 20 EMAs right here. It got rejected the last time, and price just ended up consolidating around that region. If we look back to the left, we can see price is actually consolidating within this pocket of liquidity right here. So what we can also see is price is actually creating its own order block zone right here, which is a pocket of liquidity. So expecting price to go up. In this regard, most likely price is going to go up until here to the 200 moving average before it gets hit back down, but it will face resistance here, here, and here. But what you want to do, you want to go on a Friday. Now, ideally on Friday, price should already be above the 20 EMA. So the 20 EMA should sign out support for the trade. Now, because the trade is on Friday, it's all the way at the end of the week away. I can't really analyze where price is going to be by then. So we just have to wait on Wednesday or Thursday to come check back and then see when to go in on this asset. But that would be, this does look like a buy. Okay, it does look like a buy, and I would keep the asset of medium risk, because we don't have the William pointing up, which would make it a lower risk. Now the next thing is AUD CAD. AUD CAD. Let's see what AUD got for us. So now AUD CAD looks like it's already going up, but what we're expecting is a pullback. And now we want to go in on the 4th, which is on Thursday. Ideally, on that Thursday, I want price to probably come back somewhere down here. But seeing from the probability, it looks like it wants to go above. So what could happen in this scenario is price goes up initially, hits the 200 moving average. Let me see. I can draw that out. So price will probably go up, hit the 200 moving average. I'll make that. All right, take that away. So it hits the 200 moving average, then price probably comes somewhere around here, consolidate a little while, and then price comes here by Thursday, or somewhere around the EMAs right here. Then, only then, should you take a buy. And if you take a buy, your first take profit should be your 200 moving average right here, EMA. So about 100 pips plus, maybe price will be here around, maybe 100 pips. Most likely it's going to be 100 pips. Take your first profit there. Then you can hold the rest because CAD is going to be falling for a while, I think to the end of the year. Let me just go back and quickly check that. Maybe to most likely the end of the year. So if that's the scenario in this case, what we'll do is you hold it, even though AUD seems like it's going to fall on the seasonality as well. One of them is going to lose more strength than the other, and it might be CAD. So it's going to lose strength up until December the 19th, and it was meant to be losing strength from around September or maybe October right here. And if you look at it, or October the 11th right here, it started going up. And if we look here, October the 12th right here, it started falling, which means that if CAD started falling on October 12th right there, then AUD CAD is meant to be going up around October the 12th as well. So, but the move started October 11th, a little bit earlier. So you're going to wait for price to come down, then we go up. Okay. So that literally seems like all we have for now. What I can also check also is because if the AUD CAD trade is going to be a long long-term buy. We want to see what the AUD is doing. They're going short on the AUD, but if you compare the amount of short they have on the AUD 1 grand to 16 rand, you know, it's a no-brainer. CAD seems to be losing more strength than the AUD will be losing strength. So, and also there's liquidity for these guys because these guys want to go long. These guys want to go long. The non-commercials want to go long, right? So, yeah. So that gives us a little bit more boost to our section in terms of liquidity against the CAD. Okay, so that's all we have time for today, guys. If you have questions, you can always talk to us in the chat room. You know, we can start a conversation there talking about it. And you know, if you need anything, you can message me directly or go on the website and message. But these are the trades that we're going to be most likely looking at for this week. Obviously, there's so many other trades that we could look into as well because we just only have time for these amount of trades to analyze. But so far, we can see 6 pairs to look at across GBP and CAD. Okay, guys. I hope you have a lovely trading week ahead. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you use good money management. I have a sheet I'm working on the money management again, but I'm not sure if I'm going to upload that, you know, but either ways, trade safe and stay safe, guys, and a happy new month to come. God bless you guys. Take care of yourself. Have a great night, Iceland. Take care.